Mahboobe grew up in a house that seemed to exist outside of time, where the world beyond the walls felt distant and muted. The rooms were spacious, with high ceilings and heavy curtains that filtered the sunlight into soft amber streams across the polished wooden floors. The walls were painted in subtle shades of cream, with faint cracks revealing their age. Yet there was a comforting solidity to every corner, as if the house itself upheld the rules of decorum and restraint. Silence in that house was more than the absence of sound. It was a language. Conversations were measured, gestures deliberate, and emotions carefully moderated. A smile too wide or a sigh too loud was noted, quietly corrected or gently restrained. Mahboobe's mother believed a woman's honor lay in her composure. She moved through the house with quiet authority, her every step soft, her voice low and controlled. Her father, a man of principle and tradition, valued order above all else. In their view, life was a series of choices carefully weighed, and safety lay in predictability. Mahboobe absorbed these lessons naturally. She learned how to speak softly, how to anticipate the expectations of others, how to conceal curiosity behind a calm face. She became the daughter everyone admired, poised, obedient, and composed. Yet the world outside the windows called to her in subtle, irresistible ways. From her vantage point on the second-floor balcony, she could watch the bustling neighborhood street. Shopkeepers shouted across the street, bargaining with familiarity and intensity. Children ran and chased each other, their laughter spilling into the air with unrestrained joy. Women walked through the heat of the afternoon sun, their voices carrying freely, hair catching glimmers of sunlight in ways Mahboobe had never permitted herself. Every glance toward this outside world left a strange ache in her chest, a longing she could not name. Life inside the house continued as it always had. Each day was a carefully structured routine of lessons, chores, music practice, and visits from relatives. Discussions of her future were frequent but restrained. Suitable families, proper education, social standing, and ultimately, marriage. Love, her parents often insisted, was not a matter of passion, but of propriety. It would come after approval, after commitment, when the choice was logical and sanctioned. Mahboobe nodded during these discussions, smiling politely, agreeing when expected. But inside, she felt hollow, untouched by the emotions she was supposed to cultivate. One morning, as she leaned on the balcony railing, she noticed him for the first time. Rahim. He was repairing a wooden cart near the corner of the street, sleeves rolled up, face tanned and lined from labor. There was a roughness about him, a lack of carefulness that set him apart from the measured lives she knew. He laughed freely with other men, his voice carrying across the street without concern. His movements were confident, unpolished, natural. Mahboobe's heart fluttered, though she could not understand why. She looked away quickly, chastising herself for noticing, telling herself it meant nothing. Days passed, and she found herself glancing toward the corner where he worked, over and over. Each time she told herself she was merely observing, yet each glance left her restless. Rahim's appearance was unremarkable by conventional standards. His clothes were simple, his hands calloused, his manners rough. But there was an undeniable authenticity in him, an unfiltered honesty that drew her attention, despite every warning she whispered to herself. For the first time, she felt the stirrings of curiosity, the sensation of life outside the boundaries she had always known. At night, Mahboobe lay awake, listening to the familiar sounds of her house, the faint creak of the staircase, the subtle hum of a lamp in the hall, the soft shuffle of her mother moving between rooms. Her mind wandered, circling around the stranger she had seen, questions forming she could not answer. Why does he seem so different? Why does the world feel brighter when he is near? Could life be something more than routine and carefully measured steps? These thoughts were frightening, yet intoxicating, and try as she might to push them away, a small flame of excitement had begun to grow within her.
Memories from her childhood surfaced in the quiet darkness, playing in the garden under her father's watchful eyes, listening to her mother hum while preparing meals, the scent of jasmine drifting through the windows. Those memories had always felt safe, comforting. Now safety itself seemed like a cage, a barrier between her and the world she glimpsed outside. The possibility of life beyond the walls called to her, not with threat, but with promise. From that day forward, Mahboobe began living in two worlds. One was visible, calm, obedient, predictable, exactly as her family expected. The other existed quietly within her, imagined conversations, secret smiles, unspoken questions, dreams she dared not speak aloud. No rules had been broken, no line had been crossed, and yet everything had shifted. The house remained unchanged, but Mahboobe herself had begun to change. Change, once it begins, does not ask permission. Sometimes the most powerful beginnings arrive without fanfare or drama. They come quietly, disguised as curiosity, a fleeting glance, or a question left unasked. By the time we recognize them, they have already altered the course of our lives. Mahboobe, in that quiet house, felt for the first time the weight and thrill of possibility. In the next episode, Mahboobe and Rahim take tentative steps towards understanding each other. Quiet glances turn into hesitant conversations, and with every word, the distance between their worlds begins to narrow. Yet love is never simple. Social expectations, family pressures, and personal fears threaten every interaction. Will curiosity and budding feelings survive the realities awaiting them? Join us in Part 2 to witness the fragile beginnings of a bond that may change everything.